Hi, I'm Michael Hewett, and today we're going to be going over some sequences and practices that are best for your knees. Fortunately, I've never had injury to my knees, but they are very sensitive, and so I'm empathetic to a wide range of comfort levels as far as physical yoga and the knee. So what we'll need for props: a blanket, rolled up, it could be a towel. Don't have Mexican blanket, that's cool. They're nice though because they're a bit thicker than towels. Some kind of belt, definitely get a belt from your pants or your bathrobe, proper yoga belt, that's cool too. So to start, just take your legs out in front of you and bounce them out. Lengthening the exhales. I like to think of the exhale as the way we weave our connection into the ground. It connects us to our body weight. And so we get this braided alliance of the exhale, feeling of weight and gravity. Good. From here, bring your legs, they could either be right together or about hip distance apart. And if you're seeing in the close view, hip distance or together. And then reach back and pull your glutes out of the way. So you're right on the sit bones, like you've got basically big ass feet from your heels to your sit bones. If you like, you can use your hands behind you to lengthen. Draw the shoulder blades back. And as always, the breath is long and deep. This is a resonant factor. As the musculature is contracting towards the bone, that's the stabilizing factor. But not so much that your sit bones are lifted up by your glutes. Not so much muscular strength that your diaphragm stops moving. We're going for endurance here. So this pose is called Dandasana. Danda refers to your spinal column. More deeply than that, your central channel, where we're trying to get all of the vital forces or winds of the body to enter, stay, and dissolve the knot of the heart. Okay, a couple more breaths here if you like. Bring the hands behind you and draw the shoulder blades back. Good. And then relax. Just bounce your knees out. I guess we'll be getting more scantily clad as the video goes on. Good. Okay, so back to Dandasana. From here, Ardha Dandasana. So Ardha means half. You're going to bend your right knee into flexion. Hold the knee with the opposite hand, same hand to the shin. So the spiraling action of your shoulders and the awareness of the space behind your heart also plays a factor in this. The left leg is engaged, but again, the sit bones on the ground. As you're breathing, you're feeling your danda, your spinal column, central channel, nice and pronounced. Good. And then keeping the muscular engagement, extend your leg away from you. From here, you're going to bend the left knee into flexion, draw the shoulder blades back. Again, opposite hand to the knee, same hand to the shin. If you're curious, you go the other way, you see the leg kind of gets naturally pulled out of the midline. So when you hold the opposite hand and the same hand at the base of the pillar, nice and stable. We find the spiraling action not only in the heart of our DNA, but also in the way our musculature is aligned. As well, spirals to open or close things, just like with a bottle, right? We don't just twist the bottle one way or just twist the top. It's oppositional that creates the opening or closure. Again, keep the extension, take your leg away, back to Dandasana, hands just outside the hips, nice and tall through the shoulders. Good. From here, you're going to bring your feet nice and wide. Allow your knees to fall together. And let the heart round. So the back of the shoulder, back of the heart opens up behind you. Good. This is a sacral decompression, super good when sitting a long time. Okay, then come back up. Take your legs over to the right. And then, if possible, your hands around behind you and eventually the forearms down. Full deep breaths and a little bit of engagement in your feet. Discharging any of the non-functional tension of the last 24 hours into the ground through the exhales, through the body weight. And then slowly press yourself back up. You're going to allow your legs to fall the opposite direction. So it's like a twist, 90-degree angles, turn around. And then if it's available, the elbows down, you can let your head relax. Full deep breaths. Discharging into the ground so the energy becomes free to recharge the body. Nice. Press down, come back up. And again, just notice if you're a little more floppy, a little more free to let the body do whatever. Good. Right, one more staff pose, legs at a 90-degree angle. Hands can either be by your sides, or if you're feeling a little more vital, raise the arms over your head, draw the spine in. Good, and then exhale, the hands down. From here, and cross your ankles, shift forward onto the hands and knees, and then reach long out through your left leg. So as you're opening the joint, the energy can flood. A little later on, we're going to be binding the knees so that the energy collects. And switch sides. Right leg fully extended skeletally and muscularly engaged. Good. And then plank pose. Which ways? There we go. Working with two cameras here. No cameraman. Exhale, back to down dog. Now, in down dog, feel free to bend your knees alternately. We want to feel the weight of the body evenly distribute between your hands and your feet. So the arms are straight, just like the legs were in Dandasana. The musculature engaged, but a soft pulse behind the knees. Then inhale, bend your knees a lot. Allow the abdomen to come towards the thighs. Lift your sit bones a little higher. And then keeping as much height as you can, extend your legs back. Inhale, soften the knees, lift your sit bones, straight arms. Exhale, extend the legs. One more. Inhale, bend. Feel the weight of your body go through the ground. And exhale, extend. Fantastic. From here, let's take the right leg straight out behind. And super ninja quiet. Exhale, step forward. Now, basic knee care is to pad. So I'm going to lower my left knee. So just like a few poses ago, we had this like 290-degree angles when we were twisting. Here they are again. The front knee is right over the heel. So I'm going for basically a 60-40 ratio. 60 in the heel, which is going to be more hamstring activating. And then 40 in the ball of the foot, which is more quad activating. Good. So you can stay there or bring the fingertips down and lift the back leg up. Full breaths. If you're more comfortable with blocks, you can use them under your hands. As you exhale, straighten the front leg. Inhale, bend the knee, but keep it tracking right over the heel, lengthen your spine. Exhale, extend the leg, keep the contraction of the musculature. One more, inhale, bend the knee, lengthen the spine, look forward. Exhale, straighten the leg. Couple of breaths here. As you inhale, bend the front knee, lower the back knee down, plant your hands, and then step back to down dog, keeping that engagement of the leg. Just like we did when we were releasing it from Ardha Dandasana, half staff pose earlier. Tread out a little bit. And then inhale your left leg up behind you, don't kick your light over. And quiet as a mouse, exhale, step forward. Again, you can arrange your padding. All right, so obviously, when we're more comfortable, more relaxed, it's easier to push our edge towards challenge. But especially if you're dealing with an injury or, your knees are just like mine, they're sensitive. Start with comfortable, start with stable first. Okay, fingertips down. Pro tip is I'm going to turn my hands out a little bit so I can keep the pull. I can keep the length of my lung and my collarbone. Then exhale, straighten the leg. Nice and long with the spine in a diagonal direction out over the front leg. And as you exhale, straighten the left leg. Inhale, bend the knee, look forward, extend. Exhale, straight. Inhale, bend, look forward, extend your spine. Exhale, extend, and a few breaths here. So our breath is the gauge of, is it too tight or too loose? Is there too much challenge or too little? I think the acid test for me is the narrative. If my narrative comes in and describes the pose incessantly, I may choose to make the pose a little easier so I can reframe the felt experience. Other people are different. They require more intensity to silence the narrative, but I think the safer direction is to start by softening. So bend the front knee, lower the back. From here, plant your hands and back to down dog, which is, again, the general reset position. Super long exhales. So from here, I've changed the angle. This is a variation of down dog. I'm going to turn the right foot out like that. So I can come up on the fingertips of my right hand and open the right flank of the body. Again, you want to feel the breath as shape change, contraction, expansion. Sending current, fresh blood, and bliss into the musculature. Good. Plant your right hand. Switch feet. So the outer blade of your left foot turns out on the fingertips, and your right hand's pushing like through the ground. Spread open through the ribs. So this opens through our side channels. The side channels are the energetic frontier, the sun and the moon channels, masculine, feminine polarity. We'll be getting into it in more of the tantric and energetic body lessons. Good. All right, inhale, back to plank pose. And then exhale, lower the knees. Okay, so from here, we're going to come into Virasana. Virasana means hero seat. We were opening the knees earlier, but now this is a bind. So you may want a block or a thick book or something. In the old days, you would use a telephone book. Sit down on it, and each day you practice, rip out a page. So slowly you get to the ground. So I'm going to start on the medium level. And then if you can see, behind my knees, I'm going to take the webbing of my thumb and forefinger and get it in there. Now, without pulling to the right or the left, no twisting. You're going to move the calf straight back as you sit down. So you're creating space behind the knee. Now, if you're like me and you're like, oh, I'm already seated, may want to come lower. Again, finding that comfortable frontier between relaxation, comfort, and intensity. Then the front of the knee, gently relieve it, and then pull your glutes back. So you're right on the sit bones. The knees are together. Now, as you can see my feet behind, you're going to take your index fingers into the big toes and keep breathing. It's going to be intense. Straighten your big toes out gently, gently. You may find little cramps there. Try it with your pinky toes. You put your index fingers between your pinky toes and your ring toes. Straighten them. And then make fists, and the knuckle of your fists, as you're breathing, this is the best part, you massage down the arches. And any kind of animal sounds you feel dying to come out, let them. I might start purring. The inner arch is so powerful. It's interesting, whenever I start tripping, and then TMI, but if you got this far, you're interested. My inner arches get ticklish. That's the first sign. I think there's a vagus nerve thing going there. I don't know. I have to get my forest council on the case for research. All right. So another minute here. Now with the hands, you could have them in a bowl with the middle finger resting in the opposite middle finger crevice. You could also hold your forearms behind your back so the kidneys and adrenals feel contact. Again, this is an expression of earth element. A yielding of the I, me, mine, solar plexus area. Feel the heart open, the lungs dilate. And the legs stay slightly coiled, so your pelvic floor is lifting your vital forces, your prana, up the spine. Now, from here, we're almost finished. Slowly, slowly, hands and knees. You've just bondaged your knees. You've just bound them. So now slowly, as you free and start to feel that flood of circulation, back to the hands and knees. And then very slowly, you're going to extend out through one leg, lining the bones, contracting the musculature. And then the other leg. If you feel like it, go ahead and do both. Plank pose. And then from the air, exhale, bend the knees back to down dog. And just notice if the endurance of the pose is more alloyed, right? It's not just contraction, it's not just extension, it's not just skeletal, it's not just breath, it's not just mind. I could say it's alloyed, and all the layers, all the currents that you embody. Nice. Now, slowly, slowly, you start to walk your hands and your feet towards the midline, and then have another seat. Good. Go ahead and bounce your legs out here. A pro tip, particularly for those of us who are, let's say, stronger than flexible. There's no reason to say I'm inflexible because it's just going to reinforce the story that we already bought into, right? So props are our allies. No matter how long in the tooth you get in these practices, I think props become more beloved. So the story I tell myself is that I'm tight behind my legs. Forward bend sucks, it hurts, I don't want to do it. So using the rolled up blanket under my left knee, you can see I'm grounded, but it's not fully extended. Especially when I go to fold over and it starts to hurt early, or starts to be intense early. If I do this, there's something grandmotherly about it. The knee is taken care of because it's soft under, it's not fully extended, and it's supported. Then the opposite leg comes back, Ardha Dandasana, opposite hand. Then you turn out. Now for knee health, as we turn out, what we don't want to do, let me tell you what we are not going to do, is pull on the outer foot and sickle so that it creates an imbalance in the knee. Doing this over and over again doesn't do anything for a hip. It just starts to break down the knee because it's not like a ball and socket joint. It's a hinge. So I recommend full flexion here, and then from the hip turn out, but keep the right foot a little engaged. The strap is nice because you're reaching the foot, but not rounding over, right? Like there's no boiled shrimp pose. We can get that when we're at the cubicle for a million hours. We want the spine long. So to reach the foot, you can use a strap. If you reach with your hands and round, then what's really happening other than the illusion of a forward bend, right? Full length in the back body here. Again, keep the musculature engaged without the sit bone lifting up. Skeleton's grounded. Good. Again, mindfully come out of it. Now, if the other leg's okay, you wouldn't necessarily have to use the blanket. But for symmetry, opposite end of the knee, same hand, Ardha Dandasana. You got a stable knee capsule. And then from the ball and socket joint, we turn out, right? Just like that. If this angle is too intense, bringing it down the leg is the way to go to soften it. You'll always find cats going farther, deeper, more unusual. And it's amazing, but not really the point. So I'm making this video for my main man, Patricio. He's been doing really amazing renovation and on his hands and knees doing that work and no self-care. So I'm hoping, Patrick, you watch this video once or twice, all right? I don't know why I go into a Long Island accent for that kind of stuff. But anyway, now both legs. Now, if you wanted to do Dandasana again, because I didn't mention it at the beginning with something under the knees, great, which can also evolve into Paschimottanasana. Again, the idea is that the spine is coming into the body. Not just the legs lengthening, but the entire Paschimo, the entire back of the body. 3 more breaths and then we can have a beer. Or a booch. Maybe both. Very good. Okay, and then come up. Now the acid test here is the meditation seat. So in the other videos I've posted how to find a comfortable seat. Check it out. There's Siddhasana, Sukhasana, all kinds of variations. But for me, the theme that's common is to elevate the pelvis, which this is awfully low, but since we just did the practice, it's actually well within reach. So I can be comfortable in my meditation without the body calling me back for help. Okay, namaste.